You are about to spend $60,000 on a camper van, and the city you plan to live in just made that van illegal. Nobody warns you about this before you sign. Buyers spend months researching layouts, solar setups, insulation ratings. They negotiate the price down $4,000 and feel like they won. They drive off the lot feeling smart. Then they arrive. Denver, Austin, London, Amsterdam, Barcelona. And they find out the city rewrote the rules while they were busy reading spec sheets. Overnight parking, banned. Vehicle habitation, criminalized. Low emission zone, their engine doesn't qualify. The van is legal, the lifestyle inside it isn't, and there is no refund clause for that. In 2026, this is the fastest growing financial risk in the campervan market. Cities across the USA and Europe are quietly rewriting ordinances, emission standards, and zoning codes. The buyers who don't know this are getting hit hardest. Not at the dealership, 6 months after it. This video is not about van life. It is about not making a $60,000 mistake. The freedom radius rule. Here is the thing most buyers get completely wrong. They treat the van as the purchase. Smart buyers treat operational freedom as the purchase. A vehicle that locks you out of the cities you actually plan to use, that isn't worth full price. It isn't worth half price. It is a liability with a fold-out bed in it. Smart buyers in 2026 run what I call a freedom radius check before they sign anything. 3 questions, you answer all 3 before you touch a contract. 1. Which specific cities or regions will I use this vehicle in regularly? 2. What are the current and incoming restrictions in those exact areas? 3. Does this vehicle clear those restrictions for the next 5 to 7 years? If you can't answer all 3, you are not ready to buy. You are ready to get burned. Most dealers won't walk you through this. It creates friction in the close. It is not in their interest for you to think too carefully about where you're driving the thing after you leave their lot. Let's go city by city, let's go van by van, and let's show you exactly what smart buyers are doing differently right now. The restriction map. What is actually happening? The threat isn't coming from one direction, it's coming from 3 simultaneously. Direction 1. Low emission zones in Europe. London's ultra-low emission zone covers most of Greater London. Pre-Euro 6 diesel engines, the majority of vans built before 2015, face a daily charge of £100 simply to drive inside it, not park, drive. Paris runs the Crete Air system. Vans rented Crete Air 3 or lower are banned from circulation inside the Périphérique on weekdays. Barcelona's ZBE zone is expanding. Amsterdam is targeting full diesel elimination by 2030, with intermediate bans already active on vehicles over 3.5 tons. This is not future legislation. It is current, active, and expanding. Direction 2. Anti-vehicle dwelling ordinances in the USA. Los Angeles passed sweeping anti-camping ordinances in 2024 and 2025 that effectively criminalize sleeping in a vehicle within 500 feet of a school, park, or daycare. In a dense neighborhood, that is almost everywhere. Denver enforces vehicle habitation restrictions in residential zones. Seattle cycles through sweeps and partial bans that make overnight van dwelling unpredictable month to month. Austin has implemented 72-hour parking limits across most residential neighborhoods. Portland, San Francisco, San Diego all have active enforcement programs specifically targeting vehicle dwellers. Direction 3. Oversized vehicle parking bans in major cities. This one hits retirees hardest. Boston bans all vehicles over 7 feet in height or over 20 feet in length from street parking. Full stop. Chicago enforces strict overnight restrictions on oversized vehicles. New York City does not permit RV or campervan habitation on public streets. San Francisco bans vehicles over 22 feet from most residential streets. If you are buying a full-size Class B+ or a small Class C, a significant portion of major American cities have just become functionally inaccessible. Here's what that means for which vehicles you actually buy. The smart buys for a restricted world.
5 vehicles. For each one, why smart buyers choose it, what they're actually paying, the maintenance reality, the hidden cost, and who should not buy it.
Vehicle 1. Ford Transit Custom Camper, 2019 to 2022, Euro 6D. Not the full-size Transit, the Transit Custom, the shorter, narrower version most American buyers have never heard of. This is the vehicle that threads the needle in most European LEZ environments, if you buy the right year. Smart buyers are specifically targeting 2019 to 2022 Euro 6D compliant builds from conversion specialists like Wellhouse, Ramo, or Bespoke Campers. Here's why the year matters. The 2.0 EcoBlue engine from 2019 onward achieves Euro 6D certification. That clears London's ULEZ, achieves Crit Air 2 or better in France, and positions the van safely ahead of upcoming German city zone tightening. Buy a 2018 unit instead of a 2019, one model year earlier, and that van fails ULEZ. That's $100 every single day you drive it into London. Over a year of regular city use, you haven't saved money on the purchase price. You've spent an extra $36,500 on a charge the seller never mentioned. Used price range right now: £26,000 to £46,000 in the UK, €28,000 to €50,000 in Western Europe. Maintenance: the 2.0 EcoBlue is a timing chain engine, not belt, which matters for long-term reliability. The main watch point is the DPF filter. Short urban trips accelerate particulate buildup. If the previous owner used this van mostly for commuting before converting it, budget £600 to £1,200 for a DPF clean or replacement going in. Biggest hidden cost: conversion quality variance. A poorly executed conversion, amateur electrics, unsealed roof penetrations, undersized leisure battery will cost you £2,000 to £5,000 to correct. Always commission a separate inspection of the habitation build, not just the chassis. The two are independent systems and fail independently. Who should not buy it? U.S. buyers. The Transit Custom does not exist in the North American market in any practical sense. If you're US-based, this is not your vehicle. Move to the next entry. Vehicle 2. Hyundai Staria Wagon, third-party camper conversion, 2022 to 2024. This is the insider pick that almost nobody in the English-language camper market is talking about. The Hyundai Staria Wagon is a large-format MPV built on Hyundai Kia's N3 platform, the same architecture underpinning the Tucson and Sorento. The European spec runs a 2.2-liter CRDI turbo diesel producing 177 horsepower. Every engine registered in Europe carries Euro 6D certification, confirmed directly by Hyundai Motor Europe. That single fact is worth thousands, because the buyers who didn't verify that on their last van are now either paying daily LEZ charges or selling at a loss to someone who will. That means full ULEZ compliance, Crit Air 2 rating in France, and clearance through the current wave of German city restrictions. Now here's the buying angle smart buyers are using. The LEZ compliance is key to mitigating depreciation. The factory Staria camper is currently a concept, not a production vehicle for general sale, but the Staria wagon platform is wide open for inversion. European specialists, including Ramo and several German Ausbau companies, are already building on it. You buy a used Staria wagon, commission a quality conversion, and come out with a city-legal Euro 6D compliant camper at a total cost significantly below comparable factory units. Used Staria wagon price range in Europe: €28,000 to €42,000 for the base vehicle. Add €8,000 to €18,000 for a quality conversion. Total landed cost: €38,000 to €58,000 for a fully spec'd city-legal camper van. Compare that to a new factory-built equivalent, and you are looking at a €15,000 to €25,000 saving on a platform with better LEZ credentials than most of the competition. Maintenance:
The 2.2 CRDI engine is the same unit found across multiple Hyundai commercial and passenger vehicles. Parts availability across Europe is solid. Hyundai backs European vehicles with a 3-year unlimited mileage warranty on new purchases, relevant if you're buying 2022 to 2023 stock that still carries remaining coverage. Biggest hidden cost: conversion quality control. Unlike buying a finished factory camper, you are managing a build. An underspecified converter will produce a van that looks finished but has cold bridging, inadequate battery sizing, and gas compliance issues. Budget for an independent habitation inspection before you take delivery. Cost £150 to £300. The problems it catches average £3,000 to £6,000 in value. Who should not buy it? US buyers. The Staria is not sold in North America. Full stop. And in a moment, I'll show you the van thousands of European buyers think is their safest option, clean reputation, strong used market, but that is quietly becoming one of the hardest vehicles to offload as LEZ restrictions continue tightening. That's next. Vehicle 3. Citroen SpaceTourer Camper Conversion, 2019 to 2021, Euro 6. Here is the vehicle that looks safe: established platform, familiar brand, strong used market. And for many buyers in 2022 or 2023, it was a smart purchase. In 2026, it requires more precision. The SpaceTourer ran from 2016 on the PSA Stellantis platform, shared with the Peugeot Traveller, Toyota ProAce Verso, and Opel Vivaro Life. Stellantis stopped selling ICE versions of this vehicle in Europe in January 2022. That means the entire used market is the only source now, and within that used market, there was a critical split that buyers are missing. Pre-2019 units carry Euro 6B or Euro 6C certification. Post-2019 units with the updated 2.0 Blue HD 145 or 180 PS carry Euro 6D Temp or Euro 6D certification. That difference, 1 year, same badge, same body, is the difference between a van that drives freely through Paris on a weekday and one that sits outside the périphérique because the fine on the other side costs more than your diesel for the week. Sellers don't advertise which side of that line their van sits on. You have to ask. Smart buyers are targeting only 2019 to 2021 SpaceTourer with the 2.0 Blue HD 145 or 180 PS, Crit Air 2 rated, ulez compliant, large enough for comfortable couple or small family use, low profile enough to access multi-story car parks, under the height restriction thresholds in most European cities. Used price range: £18,000 to £32,000 in the UK, €20,000 to €34,000 in Western Europe for unconverted or lightly converted units. Quality converted units, £26,000 to £42,000 in Western Europe. Conversions from Bespoke Campers, CamPal, and Ramos Trip Module are all compatible with this platform and available in the used market. Maintenance: PSA's Blue HDI diesel is a proven unit across millions of vehicles. Parts are inexpensive and widely available across Europe. This is one of the cheapest platforms to run mechanically. Biggest hidden cost: the ICE production cutoff. Because Stellantis stopped making new ICE SpaceTourers in 2022, you cannot buy new. Every unit on the market is aging. By 2028 to 2029, parts availability for the habitation conversion components, not the chassis, will become patchier. Buy quality, buy young, and buy with full service history. Who should not buy it? US buyers. The SpaceTourer is not a North American product, and European buyers planning full-time winter habitation should budget for additional insulation and a diesel heater upgrade. Expect to spend €1,500 to €2,500. The standard platform build was optimized for seasonal touring, not year-round living. But here's the thing. None of the vehicles I've just covered protect you if you make one specific inspection mistake that's quietly destroying resale values across Europe right now. I'll show you exactly what it is before this video ends. Vehicle 4. Ram ProMaster 1500 136, gas engine, 2020 to 2023. This is the smart buy for U.S. buyers, specifically navigating American city restrictions, and it is dramatically undervalued right now because of a reputation that stopped being accurate years ago. Let's deal with the perception directly. The ProMaster transmission reputation comes from early generations, 2014 to 2016, with documented ZF 9-speed gearbox issues. The 2020 onward ProMaster 1500 with the 3.6-liter Pentastar gas engine has had those issues resolved and represents a completely different reliability picture. Here is the strategic advantage that buyers are sleeping on. Gas engines do not face low emission zones. In cities rolling out LEZs, and this is expanding in the US, not just Europe, the restrictions are diesel-focused. A gas-powered campervan sidesteps the entire compliance problem. No DPF, no AdBlue system, no DEF warnings that derate your engine if ignored, no emission zone surcharge. While European diesel buyers are calculating daily zone charges into their travel budget, the ProMaster owner drives in, parks, and pays nothing. That's not a small advantage.
Over a full year of regular city use, that's $2,000 to $5,000 in avoided charges, quietly sitting back in your pocket. In Los Angeles, where anti-idling enforcement is active and emission-related vehicle targeting is increasing, a gas engine creates zero exposure. In Denver and Austin, same story. The ProMaster 136 wheelbase also keeps you under the 20-foot threshold that triggers parking restrictions in cities like Boston. That is a practical daily advantage that full-size Sprinter and Transit buyers don't have. Used price range: $28,000 to $44,000 raw van, $42,000 to $66,000 with a quality conversion. Maintenance: the Pentastar V6 is one of the most proven engines in the U.S. market. It powers hundreds of thousands of Dodge, Chrysler, and Ram vehicles. Parts are available everywhere. A routine service costs a fraction of the equivalent on a European diesel platform. Biggest hidden cost: fuel economy. Real-world consumption on a fully converted ProMaster 136 runs 17 to 19 mpg. For a full-time van lifer covering 20,000 to 25,000 miles per year, the fuel cost differential versus diesel is real over a 3 to 5 year ownership period. Run the numbers before you commit. Vehicle 5. Carado CV600, Citroen Jumper Chassis, Euro 6D, 2022 to 2024. This is the vehicle that almost nobody outside the German-language camper market knows about, and that gap in awareness is currently creating a buying opportunity. Carado is an Austrian manufacturer, part of the Irwin-Hymer Group, which also owns Hymer, Bürstner, and Deadlifts. They build compact, well-engineered panel van motorhomes that sit at a significantly lower price point than their Hymer siblings, while sharing the same production quality standards. The CV600 is 5.99 meters long. That is critical. At under 6 meters, it clears the length restrictions active in Boston, San Francisco, and most European city parking zones. It also falls under the 3.5-ton threshold that triggers the heaviest vehicle restrictions in Amsterdam and several German city zones. The chassis is the Citroen Jumper, Stellantis' large van platform, closely related to the Fiat Ducato and Peugeot Boxer. The 2022 to 2024 CV600 runs a 2.2-liter Euro 6D engine, producing 165 horsepower. ULEZ compliant, Crit Air 2 rated, cleared for the current wave of European LEZ enforcement. Factory spec includes a transverse rear bed, separate bathroom with shower and WC, compressor fridge, Truma heating, and a pop-top roof option on the CVE600 variant. This is not a stripped van. This is a production motorhome at a used price point that most buyers aren't finding because they're looking at Hymer and Deadlifts instead. Used price range in Germany and Austria, 34,000 to 52,000 euros.
In the UK used market, where it's less known, similar units occasionally appear under £38,000, a significant undervaluation relative to what this vehicle actually is. Maintenance. The Citroen jumper chassis is the most common large van base in European motorhome production. Parts are cheap. Mechanics know them everywhere. This is one of the least expensive platforms to run on the continent. Biggest hidden cost. Payload. The CV600 sits at approximately 2,985 kilograms curb weight against a 3,500 kilogram GVW. That leaves roughly 500 to 670 kilograms of usable payload, depending on spec. Add 2 adults, full water tanks, provisions, bikes, and luggage, and you will brush against that limit. Go over GVW in Germany, and your insurance is void, not reduced, void, the moment you leave the driveway. If you have an accident at 3,520 kilograms in a 3,500 kilogram van, you are uninsured, liable, and looking at a financial consequence that makes the van purchase look small. Weigh it loaded before you ever drive it. Who should not buy it? U.S. buyers. The Carado CV600 is not sold or serviced in North America. This is a European product for European buyers.
The Smart Buyer's Rules. 5 checks smart buyers run before signing anything. 1. Verify the emission certification document, not the listing description. Ask for the Certificate of Conformity in Europe or the window sticker emission data in the US. Listings routinely mislabel Euro 6C units as Euro 6D. The document is the only thing that matters when a city enforcement camera photographs your plate. 2. Mileage is not the only aging clock. A 45,000-mile campervan used for full-time living has experienced more system stress than a 90,000-mile commuter car. Inspect the water system for mold independently. Check the 240V conversion wiring for amateur installation. Verify the gas compliance certificate date. These systems age separately from the odometer. 3. For U.S. buyers, research your target city's municipal code before purchase. Denver, Los Angeles, Seattle, Austin, and Portland all have publicly searchable municipal codes. Search the city name plus Vehicle Habitation Ordinance or Oversized Vehicle Parking Restriction. 30 minutes of research before you buy prevents a lifestyle that works nowhere you want to be. 4. For European buyers, verify the Critair rating using the official tool, not the seller's word. Use the French government's official Critair verification tool with the vehicle's VIN. A Critair 3 van looks identical to a Critair 2 van on the outside. The difference is whether you can drive it through Paris, Lyon, or Marseille on a weekday without a fine landing in the post. 5. Commission a camper specialist pre-purchase inspection, not a general mechanic. A general garage checks the chassis. A habitation specialist checks the leisure battery health, water system integrity, roof seal condition, and gas safety certification. The inspection costs £150 to £300 in the UK, €180 to €350 in Europe. It routinely uncovers £2,000 to £8,000 in problems the seller either doesn't know about or is hoping you won't find. The expensive buying trap. Here is the mistake that is costing buyers £10,000 to £20,000 right now, and it is entirely avoidable. They buy a 2016 to 2018 diesel van, a Sprinter, a Ducato, a SpaceTourer, something with a solid reputation, a price that feels like a deal, and a specification that looked fine 2 years ago. They do not verify the emission standard. They do not check the city codes. They close the deal in a weekend. 12 to 18 months later, they are selling the van. Because the city they relocated to enforces anti-habitation ordinances that make the lifestyle operationally unworkable, or because the LEZ charge turns every city center week into a running tax they didn't budget for, or because the engine sits below the threshold for the next wave of zone restrictions rolling out across Europe in 2026 and 2027, and the resale market already knows it.
The resale loss on a non-compliant van in a tightening market is severe. You bought at 52,000 euros, you are selling at 33,000 euros. That is not a disappointing trade. That is a 19,000 euro lesson that 2 hours of research before the purchase would have prevented entirely. Smart buyers do not fall in love with a van first. They fall in love with a use case. Then they find the vehicle that serves it for the next 7 years, not just the first 6 months. The cities are not reversing course. LEZs are expanding on a confirmed legislative schedule. Anti-vehicle dwelling ordinances are getting stronger, not weaker. The legal and financial environment for campervan ownership in 2026 is tighter than it has ever been, and it is tightening further. The buyers who win are the ones who treat this purchase like the business decision it is. They run the Freedom Radius check, they verify the emission cert, they read the municipal code, they get the habitation inspection. The van does not give you freedom by existing. The right van in the right cities with the right paperwork at the right price, that gives you freedom. Don't buy the van that looks best on the lot. Buy the van that works in every city you actually plan to drive it through. That is the difference between a smart buyer and an expensive lesson on wheels.